In the previous video, we created the document package interview by way of an interview computation, which you see here. And that interview computation has a series of ask instructions, some of which, as you can see, are within if logic. That if logic makes those ask instructions conditional, of course. So those corresponding dialogues are only going to get asked conditionally. And the logic references a multiple choice variable that gives the user the option to select one or more documents for assembly. So in other words, there are portions of this interview that will only come up if a particular document is selected. Well, now that we've got the interview structure where it needs to be, the next step in the sequence here is to tell HotDocs what to do after the interview is complete. And in a document package, what we typically do at this point is we implement within an interview computation one or more assemble instructions. So these are specific instructions to HotDocs to assemble a particular document. And you can see if we were to go down here into the instruction models, there is an assemble instruction. I'll go ahead and drag one of these up here, and I'm going to put it right here on that blank line between the last ask instruction for the trust portion of the interview and the end if, which of course is part of the if logic around that series of ask instructions. And you can see within quotation marks we have a reference to a file name. So it's here that we actually have to put a file name within quotation marks. So this is going to be where you reference the actual template file name. If you don't know that offhand, of course, you can find that easily enough. I happen to have a shortcut to that template here in the library. So if I were to come back here into the library and highlight that, you'll see the file name is mastertrust.docx. That's what I want to reference here and replace the word file name with. So I'm going to go ahead and just type that in. And we could leave this as is. And of course, we would want to go ahead and set up similar assemble instructions for the other documents that could conceivably be produced here. So let me go ahead and do that. And let's do this for the will. That one's an easy enough name. Okay, and then finally, another assemble instruction for what will be the financial power of attorney. So a little longer file name here. And provided you get those file names correct, when HotDocs finishes the actual interview, it will, by way of these assemble instructions, have, depending on whether or not these individual documents are selected, items in the queue for actual assembly. So in other words, if I were to choose trust in the interview, then HotDocs would add, by way of this assemble instruction, the master trust template to the assembly queue, and of course it would assemble a document from that template. So that's the next step in the sequence, is adding assemble instructions. In this case, we have these assemble instructions coming in conditionally, so along with the ask instructions for the different dialogues that correspond to these different documents, all of this is within if logic. So we've created assemble instructions, but we still have a bit to do with those assemble instructions to make sure that the actual assembly of documents happens automatically without any other interviews coming up as part of that process. And that's what we're going to cover here in the next video.